Subscribers, fans, followers, and patrons from around the world, welcome to the Fourth Industrial Revolution podcast. This is Brian Masterson. This is Burke Ellis, and I'm Jeremy Alexander Newsom. Today, we're discussing the movements of bacteria, mass spectrometry. Close. I was super close. We're discussing what this guy does, the future of chemists, the future of chemistry, hard sciences, stem cells, all kinds of really good stuff.
Graduate researcher at Vanderbilt University. This guy's very knowledgeable. He's going to blow your mind.
Tune in. You're going to love it.
So Burke, you're at Vanderbilt, graduate student, doing some research in chemistry, obviously. What kind of got you to that point? Why did you choose the field of chemistry? What's your background in as far as undergrad?
Because you're one of 7 people that have ever done chemistry.
Yeah.
So why are you?
That's a good question. So I went to Lynchburg College, and it's a really small school, liberal arts, and I started as a business major, and just was fulfilling remedial requirements. And I went to an all-boys prep school the year before for high school. So my whole senior year was basically freshman year in college. So I was just wiping the floor with this. It was a breeze. And then I got asked to join the honors program, and one of the big moments in my life was my coach was I was yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna hang out and play, focus on lacrosse. And he's I figured he'd like that. He's no, dude, you gotta do this. And he basically put the ball in my court to man up and do that. Yeah, he's why not?
Nice. Shout out to your coach.
You get involved in all these honor. They count towards college credits, obviously.
Yeah.
And
but you get to do theses and research, and then I was taking chemistry because I liked it in high school, and then I had a teacher that was also a student athlete at a small school. Mm-hmm. Basically was the same version of me except baseball.
Okay.
And he kind of just yeah, you should probably do this.
Okay.
And then the rest was kind of rock and roll. I just didn't like any of my business classes anymore because chemistry was so much more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could, but then when I started taking economics courses just because I wanted to get an idea. We were I don't know how to read these charts, and I was just what do you mean? This is all I do. So I got a lot better at economics and business stuff.
Okay.
From chemistry.
A lot of maths involved in chemistry, correct?
Yeah. A lot.
Because I majored in mathematics in college, so I have a broad overview across all these different fields and how to apply certain mathematics.
And I said, what career can I choose has nothing to do with chemistry or hard math.
So, but what I remember from in my 1 or 2 chemistry classes in high school is just simply what elements are, how to mix them, and see what you can get.
Yeah.
But when does it get to the next level where what do you do as a chemist? Just a broad overview.
Yeah.
It gets to the next level when you get into a R01 research institute, which is something has a lot of funding coming in, Vanderbilt, or if you get into one of these more prestigious schools that have not only billions of dollars each year go into research from different professors or psychology and all that stuff. So that's where everything dials up a lot. Even if you're an undergraduate doing research at Vanderbilt, you're doing high quality, really top tier research, and that's when it's kind of you have the tools necessary for me, I'm a mass spectrometrist. I know I talked to you about this at the bar. But we have the instrument I use right now is $750,000 in 2007, and that's with an academic discount.
Don't break it.
Yeah.
That's
and then that's with my dad, not my dad, but my PI knowing and being buddy, being yo, give me a discount. So you need a lot of infrastructure there, especially for what I do. I do analytical chemistry, so I'm not mixing shit. I'll just basically I can tell you what's in that pen ink. Or
so what is so you said analytical chemistry, what are the different kind of fields are there?
So there's a lot. There's in chemistry there's synthetic which is like actually people that like make molecules every day that are like making new drug molecules or like trying to find
new substances or something.
Well, they make new compounds and they'll test them in like for their like activity in like humans for like drug molecules or like what have you. And then there's like analytical chemists that are like what I do, and so we're kind of more or less like we work on ways to detect and analyze molecules more or less to like make them.
Got it.
So it's like it first started out as like, oh, can we tell what like a mass is of a molecule? And now there's been like so much infrastructure involved that you can like take a blood spot. Like one of the coolest applications of my technology is like when kids are born, they take a quick blood spot of their foot and run it for like carnitine metabolites.
Well, I don't know what carnitine metabolites are.
Yeah, anyways.
Sounds like
it's just like a suite of molecules, but it's like really indicative of their like metabolism.
Okay.
And so if they pick up on that within hours of birth, they can treat you for like metabolism disorders.
Wow.
Before, oh, it's amazing. And it's been going on for like 20 years. Just nobody knows about it. Or if you're like,
that's insane.
If you're getting a piss sample, like for like drugs or whatever, it's going through an analytical chemistry lab.
Okay.
Or if you're doing like food,
Yeah.
anything like that. And so like there's like the quality control and regulation side, but there's also like discovery side, which is more or less what I do.
Sure. So I feel like we can branch a few different ways here, but I want to ask the kind of the darker side of chemistry. Think of like meth and all the like bad shit that goes on with drugs.
Wow.
Like I'm talking about like illegal drugs that are being made in like meth labs and shit like that. People I'm sure can go on YouTube and just learn how to make meth, but I feel like there's a lot of hazardous type of instances, not only in a meth lab in some double wide trailer in Podunk, Kentucky, but no offense to Kentucky people, but then there's also you're in the lab and you're mixing chemicals, and there's obviously the what do you call it, rinser and a shower thing in case. How often do you see hazardous things get mixed or anything like that? You guys, you're knowledgeable enough not to get to that point.
Oh, and I work on like microliter scales.
Okay.
Like if I'm like, or maybe like a milliliter. Like so like my ideal sample is about like this big.
Yeah. Okay.
So like people that are like more or less like my other friends that are like organic chemists that have to like they'll have to do a reaction in like under hydrogen gas, which could fucking blow up, or they'll have to do like they have like vacuum hoods, like there's all sorts of stuff. Like there's like people that work inside of vacuums, like these huge gloves,
and there's the ventilation system. So
but like in my lab, the biggest thing is like gas canisters. Like we have like all these gas canisters to pressurize our instruments, and if like one of them like snaps off, like it'll go through a cement wall. So you got to be like really careful about that.
So I was on a long road trip like a few weeks ago, and I was listening to Radiolab's podcast, and they had a great one on the Poison Control Center. Remember that Poison Control Center and how it started? But it's the simple household items that people have. I don't think people fully understand how hazardous those can be.
No, not at all.
So give us some
give
us some insight onto that. Or you're saying anything.
I don't know. I deal more OS with like microbes and stuff, which I think that's my current like fascination. But like in terms of that stuff, like I think like bleach is like super basic, or if like nail polish remover is just like straight acetone, which is like an organic solvent. So like I like always get fucked for this when I'm like in lab, like instead of using like ethanol or methanol to clean something, I use acetone and just take all the paint off of shit. And like stuff like that. So it'll like dissolve plastic or whatever. So and like everything. But
you said microbes is what your current infatuation is?
Yes.
Okay.
It's more or less biochemistry.
Okay.
But it's more or less like infections and like just all different sorts of bacteria and what they like have effects on.
So I'm sure you're under some type of agreement where you can't disclose a lot of information, but do you have anything that you're working on currently that you're excited about?
Yeah. I can tell you guys whatever. I don't really like think you're going to be like any competitors.
All right.
Not unless it is making rounds though. But I'm about to I actually just put my draft, or my most recent draft, on my boss's desk today for my first like single first author publication on this shit, which is like basically, I told you I work with like a mass spectrometer.
Okay. Yeah,
what that does is it just measures molecules mass.
Okay.
And it's all done under high vacuum and a lot of like very complicated electrodes and stuff. But the basis is that like we just put a charge on a molecule, and then you can like bounce it around this instrument with like putting electrodes on it. So if you have like a negative electrode and a negative ion, you can move it. But if you have a positive one, it'll go that way. Yeah. So you can like do all this crazy stuff so we can find out their mass and like their size. And
so you're looking to what? With your research, what are you trying to do? Create a new machine that...
No, I'm using like current applications, like top tier technology or like cutting edge technology, and working on like how we can apply it to things.
Got it.
And so I'm applying it to microbes.
So it's almost like you're testing these instruments to see what they can do.
Yeah. Wow. Like I got the front of the line like technology. Like I have to actually, one of the weird things is like, although this guy did no work like with one of the companies that I'm working with, I had to make him an author on my paper because he paid like I don't know how many thousands of dollars just to put it in there, the technology that I'm using. And so like I have to say yes because I mean if you didn't do that, then there wouldn't be the paper. So I mean,
that's IP, man. And I'm sure the patent process behind what you guys do is insane.
Yeah, well, it's actually like really liberal. I mean, it was like patenting is like very different. But like for this, I just like sent him an email. I was like, "Yo, like, are you gonna be an author? Like, I'm gonna assume you are, unless you tell me otherwise." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, like, sweet." And he's like, "Oh yeah," and I asked him a bunch of questions about some other stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways,
go ahead.
Broad picture.
Yeah.
I used that mass spectrometer to watch bacteria eat each other, and so I take pictures of them doing it, and so we can basically like find new antibiotics.
Okay.
Interesting. What type of bacteria?
Nice.
We use this bacteria called myxobacteria, which they're kind of like these crazy boogers, man. It's like I started like reading a lot on the biology behind them when I started this project, and I was like, wow, like this is like pretty cool. But like they had like really complicated like social dynamics. Like they'll like one thing that I'm trying to prove right now is that like with a molecule that I'm tracking is that they can like run around their prey and like basically like starve them out. Or they'll like or like there's like they have like warriors, and then like there will be guys that'll like pop back and like go ahead and start eating what they already killed. And they're called like cheats, and so they're like cheat the system. Yeah, so we're like all I'm trying to do is like pick up on like the small molecules that they use to communicate that shit.
Okay,
interesting.
Okay, kind of like the messengers in the system.
Yeah, so which are the molecules?
What do bacteria eat in this scenario?
E. coli.
E. coli, okay.
Yeah, just starting them off with like something easy.
So I feel, is there a lot of translation between like modern human behavior, like with war techniques, I'm sure, and like you look at these molecules and these bacteria?
It's more or less like for drug discovery.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
to better help the human.
Yeah. Well, it's like the thing is that like, and this is why I'm obsessed with microbes now. It's like I was really sick for a while, like not really sick, but I had a lot of stomach issues. And I still can't like eat gluten or anything.
Okay.
But I went and saw this doctor, and he like was like, "Yeah, you have like 5 parasites in your body. Like I'm surprised you were even like doing this." And I was like, "Well," he's like, "What do you?" He started treating me for them, and then like my energy levels are better.
How the hell did they test for parasites?
Dude, it's fucked. I don't but there's a lot of really like they do like measure conductance and like acupuncture points.
Okay.
And like basically like some guy did a whole bunch of research, and like they patent this technology where you can put a probe there and measure the like conductance, and based on that frequency they can tell you what type of bacteria is in like that system.
Whoa.
So if you're like right here and they're like, "Oh, in your colon we detect this frequency, which is like Babesia," and it's like, "Oh, this is like common foodborne. Like if you like do you eat a lot of spinach or like dried vegetables or bagged vegetables," like yeah, they're like yeah, dude, stop that right now.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Man.
And so I got
insane.
treated for these, and like I still have a hard time eating like bread, but I think it's because I haven't had it for so long.
Sure.
Right.
That I just like I'm not really attracted to it anymore.
I was gonna
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you how your area of study affects your regular diet. I mean, you're obviously you know better than anyone what you're putting in your body when you're drinking or eating certain things.
Yeah.
So I mean, has it made you more health conscious?
Yeah. No, definitely. That part in particular. But this is all like something that I've been kind of coming up on. But then like I've been doing more research into like what my research has implications for.
Okay.
And then like if you think about it, there's like this is gonna fuck you guys up. This is like something that's like this is one of the leading like one of the coolest things going on in chemistry and biochemistry now is like the human microbiome.
Okay.
And so basically like
What is that?
I'm gonna get in there.
Okay.
Basically, if you look at the number of cells we are as humans, it would be more bacteria than us.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird.
And yeah, it's like we're like some like 13%, and it's like 87% bacteria cells.
What?
Yeah. Well, it's just like ours are like ginormous, and
Yeah.
theirs are like 10 times or like 1,000 times the size.
Right.
So but isn't there such thing as good bacteria?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
of
saying,
course.
the microbiome. So the microbiome is like basically like the union of like all the bacteria that live inside of you.
Okay.
And so like you have some in your stomach, and so that's like the gut microbiome.
Right.
And they like you can tell with people with certain diets will have like or different bacteria in their like gut have like better immune systems
Sure.
or like higher correlations with like depression. And like it could be like, yeah, if you eat like one sugar molecule and there's some fucked up bacteria in there, instead of turning into like the right thing, it turns into the other thing.
Whoa.
And that can like make a whole cog in your wheel
You gotta be
chemically
kidding me.
up in your
I
noggin.
have
space.
heard the gut is like the what do they say, the second brain or something in
Yeah.
your body.
The gut.
Yeah, yo, actually, this is hysterical. If you were to take all the dried bacteria in your body, it's like 12 pounds, which is equivalent.
Insane.
Which is your brain also weighs 12 pounds, which
Yeah.
is kind of why they go 12 to 14. You know,
Yeah.
some people are.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So that's like, yeah, that's kind of why it's like that. And so it's like this whole, so that everybody's trying to figure out what the hell is going on with that. And so,
How long have they been researching this? And I mean, I feel like we're on the cusp of like learning some pretty important things.
well, it's hard. Because, like, nowadays, like, there's just way too many variables. And, like, to, like, isolate systems, like, you have to do it in, like, clean mouse and then, like, systematically infect them. And, like, so, but it has harder applications in humans because, like, we eat all sorts of shit all of the time.
Right.
From all different areas.
Yeah.
Like, that's why eating local is actually, like, a thing. Because when, like, all the, like, microbes that live in your area are, like, the ones you're the most compatible with because you live with them all the time.
That makes sense.
But if you get some, like, shipment from Oregon
Yeah.
and it has some microbe that you've never been introduced to and it's, like, in your food,
Interesting.
and then you're all of a sudden like, oh, like, bread makes me, like, really weird. I don't know why. I, like, get sick or
Interesting.
something like that.
Wow.
So that's what I, like, that's why I try to eat local and, like,
Yeah.
I just, like, go to decent like
Yeah, I mean,
grocery
obviously
stores.
you're an in-shape guy, but what advice do you have for other people out there who may be experiencing sickness that they don't know, and before going to some type of nutritionist or doctor, what can they do? I mean, I've heard like
Just-
the bees honey, local bees honey, if you have allergies.
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know.
But eating local, I mean, should people be cutting fast food out of their diet?
Yeah.
Obviously.
My thing, and one of my friends, and like he was lost like 30 pounds since he like had this like conversation. He's like, dude, you just gotta like. Some guy was like a podcaster. He was like, you just need to eat like fucking adult. Like,
Eat like an
I'm
adult.
sorry. Like,
Eat like an adult.
it's like most people nowadays, and like if you think about yourself as like a normal organism, like you're not like giving yourself like McDonald's.
Sure.
Ever.
And you're, I think.
I mean, like, even if it tastes like shit, like, if it's nutritious and you're gonna get through it and you're gonna be fine at the end of the day, like, I eat, like, quinoa bowls, like, because I don't want to have, like,
Yeah.
well, only when they don't have, like, good shit at Vandy or whatever.
I do love quinoa.
Yeah, but it's like, is it the most tasty thing? No. But do I like not feel bad and actually have a lot of energy afterwards? Yes.
I was gonna say, like, I've felt like, okay, if I'm on a trip or, you know, something that's convenient, a bag of chips or whatever, like, if you're eating that for fuel, you're gonna feel lethargic and everything like that. But if you're putting nutritious, good food in your body, like you said, it's gonna go in and activate these neurotransmitters and whatnot to make you feel better and more energized. But what were we just discussing off screen about the
energy output?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Preservatives.
The preservatives.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, they're like, one, it's like if you eat a more like healthy diet, you'll have like you won't have any problems with iron or anything like that, and so like you'll have like a normal operating system. But like preservatives and like shit like that just like bogs you down, I think, so much, because I think that's like gum is one of the things that's like terrible for you, because it's like sugar alcohols.
Shoot.
And it like messes with your like, they're harder for your bacteria to convert than like
if
a
you're
normal
swallowing
sugar.
the gum, right?
I mean, just chewing it. It's like it's
Shoot.
like you taste it.
Man, I love gum.
You taste it down here, but it's even alright. Gum's alright, like, but like my thing is like, and I think the main reason why I hate flour and like can't eat breaded products is like because like flour shouldn't be able to sit on the shelf
Okay.
for more than what, like let's say like 2 weeks, 3 weeks
max.
Yeah.
but it'll sit there for years, which is just showing you. And like the thing is, like when food goes bad, like when you have fruit in your fridge and it like starts to wilt, and then you have like, you know, like I don't know, like a slice of pizza or whatever, and it's not like wilting and all that stuff, it's because bacteria decided that there's a lot more nutrients in here, right?
It makes sense.
Well, explain that again. So you mean more nutrients in the
apple,
the thing that's wilting?
the thing that's wilting, because it's getting broken down.
Huh.
By the
I never thought about that.
So yeah,
It makes complete sense.
And so then when you think about it, you want to like, that's why everybody wants the freshest food. It's because there's not going to be preservative in it, and it's going to decompose eventually, because everybody's going to like, all the bacteria are going to be like, yo, this is good.
Yep.
Kinda like
This has a lot of shit in
sense.
it. And so like, if you think about that and what you're trying to put in your body, like I always go after the shit that I know like bacteria will like.
See, I'm gonna have a different mindset
interesting.
opening my fridge and
Yeah.
seeing something that's been there the same amount of time, and that one's getting like wilting or getting rotted because, well, that's the healthier one.
I never-
obviously.
Like avocados, they go bad. Well,
Yeah.
that's like mainly because it gets oxidized, but
I never thought about it from the bacteria's perspective.
yeah. But it's like,
That's
it's
fascinating.
cooler, and that's what like a main thing of my, that's one of the things that I've implemented the most about my research, is like how the bacteria look at it. And that's
That's what's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's get back to that, because that's what I'm really interested in, because you're discussing it from your paper is kind of, here's what the bacteria are doing, here's what they're thinking, here's how they're acting. Because if we know that, the best way to know your enemy, you know, or the best way to fight your enemy is to know them.
Yeah, well, this is like, paper is just going to be all about like the method and how we do it, or like how we can track them.
Yeah. How are you? Like, let's get a little bit of specifics. Like, do you map them, or do you watch them every day? Is it filmed? Like,
I take pictures of them. Like,
with the mass spectrometer.
With the mass spectrometer.
Now, do you take pictures every second, every millisecond, 8 hours? How often?
It's a continuous source, so we make like a couple. I calculated how many mass measurements we make on average, and like averaged are about like 30 million, like throughout one experiment, and then
30 million images.
Well, 30 million measurements. So like, this is one of the bacteria right here, and
My dickhead friend.
this is like the picture I make. And so all these different colors are different molecules.
Okay.
Interesting.
So like the purple one is like the main guy, and all this red, orange, and yellow are the molecules it's using to fight.
Do we have a way, if you send those two pictures, can you
Yeah,
send
we're
those
going to put them
pictures
on
to me?
there. Yeah.
And then we'll throw them up?
Yeah, post edit, they're already there. You guys rock.
Yeah, I can send those to you. But yeah, so then we can like, that's like probably 10 of the molecules that like represent the different areas, and I pick up on like thousands. So there's ones that like I said, like wrap around. There's ones that are like kind of like beacons and like feeling it out.
This might be a random question. So in this field, who is kind of like a mentor to you? Or not mentor, someone you look up to. I mean, like, is it in
Yeah,
the
I
chemist
would
world?
go. I mean, like it would be like somebody. I like. All right, I'll say like my favorite person that's doing research and publishing is like Peter Dorenstein.
Okay.
He's at UCSD. He does a bunch of like sweet shit.
Yeah. Which
but-
you should say to him when you meet him.
But I think my method's better than his, and so like when it comes to like leading experts in this field, like I'm the leading expert in like this very very specific application.
Right.
So it's actually getting a lot of heat. Like I've been around like giving talks and like I got picked up or like some guy from Cornell like contacted me and he's like, yo, I'm thinking about doing this, like if I buy this instrument, can I use your method and like how does it work and like stuff like that.
So what's the next stage for you? I mean, you're doing your research. You talked about getting into the doctorate program, but then from there, I mean, do you go mainstream and get linked in with someone like Pfizer, or do you go do more research? Do you patent your own process and method?
So
collect royalties, baby.
Yeah. So we're gonna publish it first and foremost, which is just like solidifies our like use of this. Like we were the first people that invented it.
And when you say publishing, where does that go? Who's
it goes to like an online journal.
Okay.
So basically anybody can look at it.
Okay.
Well, if you have a subscription to the journal, so anybody in the scientific community can probably look at it and read it. And be like, oh, this is cool or whatever. Then after that, my boss may have us like follow up with like not an IP. Well, it'd be an inventive disclosure, basically saying that like this is our technology, like we did this in collaboration with like a couple other people. In that case, we would patent it, but we already have like a bunch of like applications for the method itself, but it has a lot of applications in like drug industry because the cool thing, like we're getting back to like thinking from the microbes, is that like all of our drugs nowadays, like all the antibiotics, 97% of them came from microbes first.
Yep.
Right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's where all of it. I mean,
so that's where it all. So that's a really great comment. And so like basically like when we do this, and like you can basically take any two bacteria and watch them fight and see which ones produce antibiotics, and then you can like. So now what we're doing is like we use like a model system where we proved like okay, we can measure this known antibiotic, and then we can also measure these known things.
Yeah.
And now we're doing like that purple bacteria I showed you is like this gnarly cave strain that my like collaborator isolated out in like the Mammoth Cave area or something like that.
Hey,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm in mind blown right now.
Oh man.
There's some well, it's like
that's nasty.
It's really cool because like
so they had to go up there to Mammoth Cave.
Yeah, and they like
dug around,
they get
some,
like
brought some samples back.
Yeah, I'm watching like I'm watching this guy do it right now. They like you can either take like a couple pieces of rock or like sediments from like wet, damp areas, and then like place them on like a growth plate and like watch what comes up, and then isolate them. Or you can like swab them and like start growing them up and like do whatever. So yeah, so we have a bunch of cave guys too, and those things are.
We have a bunch of cave guys.
They're fucking animals, and the coolest part is because they like. All right, so most bacteria that don't live in caves get sunlight and all this energy, and with sunlight comes a bunch of food because you have all this other stuff living and growing with you. When you're in a cave, you gotta like make ends meet. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting.
So they have all these crazy genes and all these funky molecules that they express. So now we're trying to isolate new molecules.
So you said the process in the old outdated process, or what they're trying to use now, is you put two bacteria side by side, they fight. You look for the antibiotics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you looking for? You said looking for the antibiotics.
Yeah. So
But now you said there's a different method, and is this what you're talking? Your method?
No, that's the same thing.
Okay.
And so what we do is that like when you put them together, basically you can tell where they're meeting. And this was like what my big part of my paper is that we use this like imaging data analysis that basically tells you like which regions are important.
Sure.
Or chemically different.
Sure.
And so we find the ones that are chemically different, and then the ones that are like basically localized to the fighting or the overlap of the two.
Right.
Whatever molecules are in that one are mainly antibiotic or antibiotic related.
Gotcha. So you're just taking it another layer deeper.
Yeah.
Instead of just looking at what's produced by the two bacteria, you're looking at how the communication's happening.
Yeah, so you can look at all the different
happening.
molecules. Like we did a time course where you can like watch them like come in and out with time and like fluctuate and do all this crazy shit.
That's fascinating. And one of the things that I want to dive into a little bit more, the term communication.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're measuring the communicable skills of bacteria. So how do bacteria communicate with each other? Do we know how much information we know on that?
A lot.
Tons.
We know how they do it, but
You're a genius, bro.
we don't know what they do.
Right, that's the thing.
So that's what I'm working on. And so like we've like been able to take pictures of them, like the bacteria I work with, and the reason why we like look at all the molecules we do is they have like this really, like I said, that really intricate social behavior. So they like basically have connectors all the time where they like will transmit resources, or like this one's low on food, like here, or they have this like goo that they like basically like track behind them. And so basically we know what they're doing, but this is kind of like for the first time we can start to like measure what molecules are being used. So like I can tell you it's like, yeah, that's like a lipid signaling molecule, and it's like we're working on figuring out the structures of them, but like we can basically take better pictures than we're able to solve the structures of.
This is insane.
That's fascinating.
So, and this would all not be possible with the advancement
Without
of
the spectrometer.
technology.
No.
Technology.
I mean, like, I make like anywhere one data file could be like 30 gigabytes.
So you're talking about storage.
Like,
tons of storage.
Oh my, yeah, I generated like a terabyte in like 6 months or something like that. And so like being able to find which one is an antibiotic in like 30 gigabytes is a lot of really like hard stuff. So like most of my work, like while it's like really cool that we can take really cool pictures, most of my work's been like being able to take those pictures and like condense them down to like meaningful information.
Right, because that's
like you go from like
I can take pictures.
Yeah.
You know.
Everybody can like acquire it, but if like you can't make some like assertions and like have like a reliable method to do so, then like or to analyze all that data.
No, Bert, make fun of me. That's fine. You
Uh-huh.
can make fun of me. The question is, what's the difference between a microscope and a mass spectrometer?
So microscopes, there's a lot. Microscope is like optical. Basically, it's just like a focusing.
Okay.
You just use like lenses to like direct and focus light. Whereas this is more or less what I have set up is like it's actually weird. We have like a little needle that blows gas molecules as well as like solvent on the surface, and basically like collects the molecules. So a mass spectrometer literally means like we measure mass, and then like the spectro is kind of like instrument kind of thing.
How big is it? Because in my mind, I'm picturing like this massive, like 12-foot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's. I'll show you. I can send you guys these pictures too.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's here.
While you're looking this up, have you ever seen the documentary on particle fever?
Particle
CERN.
fever.
It's called CERN.
Oh, well, I mean,
you know
I know
CERN.
about CERN. I like CERN. They
And
do some good shit.
And basically, what they're just colliding particles.
Yeah, that's like to try to get some inferences on
It's all
you know,
energy.
just like particle physics and like,
Yeah.
A lot
Well,
of
it's
energy
like
creation.
yeah, it's just
Pulling from dark matter, man. They want
well,
it.
it's like they're trying to get close, but like basically like subatomic particles have all been like discovered like using stuff like that, and like the Higgs boson
Sure.
and stuff like that.
So can you speak to that?
Not as much. I took a nuclear chemistry summer course at one point, and that was like we barely touched on it.
Okay.
But it was all about like particle acceleration and like radiation and all that shit, which is also really cool. But yeah, I mean, I think what they're doing is like really awesome. It's a little like scary because they like are getting like really good at it. But we're finding out like more and more about our universe, and like I don't think without that, then like you wouldn't have like modern ideas like we do today, like about like string theory and shit like
quarks.
that and quarks, subatomic particles.
Well, I do want to say thank you for breaking the mold in my mind, the stereotypical chemist mold.
Yeah.
Because you're like a lacrosse fit, out kind of guy.
It's a different.
I mean, right? When you say chemist, you don't think Burke.
No,
I don't.
Yeah. Well, it's different. I like more or less got admitted to Vanderbilt. I don't know. I was smart enough to like do all that stuff. But, like, I think lacrosse got my foot in the door just because like you were more or less like disciplined and a worker.
Sure. And
so like actually like my buddy that I came in with, he was in the military before. Like he and I are like wiping the floor with all these like little shits that are like much more intellectuals that like aren't about action. Because like at the end of the day, like it's all about what you make out of graduate school, not what graduate school makes you do.
Sure.
So it's like you have all the opportunities. Like I got that millions of dollars of technology in front of me. It's like up to me to use them, not for my boss to make me use them.
To tell you, hey, you need to do this and you need to do this. You're going in there and just kicking doors down.
And then like the cool thing is nobody watches over me. Like everybody thought like you were gonna be like get your hand held, and that never happened. So I just had to learn on my own, which is like good. So I'm self-sustainable.
Hell yeah.
But nowadays, like nobody checks up on me. It's like, can you like meet at Tuesday at 1:30? Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Just like walked out. Like if somebody needs me, just like text me and I'll be back in like an hour or so.
Fantastic.
Or like after like 4 o'clock, I'm like done with my work for the day. I'm like, fuck off, guys. But it's terrible. I get there about 8 or 8:30, and then it'll be so quiet, and then like everybody shows up at 10. So when I like leave at like 4:30, like nobody says like shit because they got to work at 10. Like, I've been here for 2 hours.
So do you think that you're going to more venture down the and stick with the education element and staying within the educational institutions?
No.
You think you'll go more commercialized? Yeah?
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to end up. It's a hard decision because there's so many things like cannabis.
I was going to say, what industries would you even go towards? So you're talking, cannabis is one.
Just because everybody that does, like, cannabis science is, like, a stoner and not a chemist, like, stoner turned chemist.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
They're
like, dude, this is really cool. What if we could do this? And they're, like, trying to figure it out. But if you come at it from, like, the chemistry side, like, my friend and I, like, even people that, like, sell cartridges like legally in like California or whatever. We were at a conference and like basically my friend made this connection. They came down to our lab and like basically we were like, it's like this is this percent THC, this is this percent CBD, this is this. Here's what pesticides there are, and they're like, oh my god, how can you do that? And we're like, what do you mean? This is what we're paid to do.
And that's probably very simple for you.
We did it in 2 hours.
Wow.
Dude, all right.
And so like pesticides. That's like what I'm saying. Like. That's a huge market opportunity.
Yep. Burke, I'm helping a business owner, which we may get on the podcast, who does exactly what you're talking about. And he's not a stoner. He's very ingrained in the industry. But
is he local?
No, he's in California. But he moved into... So when studying the actual cannabis industry... Obviously, there's a saturation of growers, dispensaries, and whatnot. But there's very few people who are doing the testing on the actual product, and more and more states are requiring that. And eventually, if it goes federal, there's going to be federal regulations. You need your shit tested. It's a huge market for the testing.
Well, even nowadays, like one of my friends that like graduated about a year ago, he's like working here since CBDs are legal now in Nashville.
Okay.
Like you can go to Whole Foods and buy a little CBD pack.
Really?
They're like, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
That's why I always keep like my pen on me because it's like, CBD. And so he's already doing like basically you can grow hemp legally now. It just like has to have like a certain threshold of THC content. So he just like tests that. Okay, so like my like main, I don't know. I have some ideas.
What do you think of? So what's your opinion on then the holistic approach to things? You know, you have as a chemist, you know obviously more about all these different drugs on the shelf, and you know a lot, I'm sure, about big pharma. But then there's this holistic approach at plant-based medicines and whatnot. What's your opinion of the two and how they intersect?
Dude, that's a good question. I think this is like one of the things, like when I want to go to industry, I want to either like do something like that or like cannabis, or like do like R&D and not go to like a company, because like yes, you have to make a profit, but also it's like
moral ethics,
like some kind of like this is like people's health at stake. Like this isn't more or less like, all right, yeah, I get it. You're gonna make a little bit more money, or like you'll make a ton of money, and everybody will make money, and good. And you're paying for people and their kids, so that like is a good thing. But also, it's like you could be charging $10 less and make somebody's medicine affordable for them. Like, where are you? I get it's a private investment, but even, and this is one of the few things I'll actually like stand by Trump with, is that he was like, dude, whatever's going on here, like we need to like make more competition in the pharmaceuticals market to drive that down, because like if you're in UC Berkeley, or like even like my shit, like if I were to take my method and make a company out of it, like it would probably be bought up and swallowed up by like Pfizer or some like huge Japanese pharmaceutical for $85 million, and then, you know, they own it.
Yeah, but then you can go retire in the Caribbean.
Yeah, sure. But, like, then it never gets used for, like, you know
the right means of as to why it was invented.
But I think, like, if you go, like, I think, like, biggest thing, like, with plant-based medicine is, like, your diet. Like, it starts there.
Yeah,
like, you
for
put
sure.
it in.
Well, yeah.
And so if you have to have, like, Prilosec, or, like, you know, like, I had to take Prevacid all the time because I had acid reflux, until I realized that it was, like, terrible for you for, like, systemic use.
See, that's what... But
if I would have had, like, a less acidic diet, then I probably wouldn't have never had to take it for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I was like, no, I'm insistent on, like, eating, like, a bunch of, like, you know, fried food and, like, all the stuff that had, like, a lot of acid in
Very
it.
acidic
Like,
diet,
I love citrus flavor, so it's always, like, very acidic.
Yeah.
So I always have, like, acidic diet.
I think you fall in a awesome... on the spectrum of, you know, big pharma, and then you get the hippies who are, you know, doing whatever with whatever type of plants.
Yeah.
I think that window's starting to open more, and I think it's because of people like you and the research that you're doing that allows for people to understand true applications for medicine. And when you look at the opioid epidemic, that's insane.
You know, all the drug epidemics are like pretty terrible. Like, it's just like, it could be like stopped.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, it's like with like I had like a couple surgeries, and like I got like so many pain pills, it was ridiculous.
I bet.
And I loved them.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, oh, I never got it. I was like, you didn't take enough. Like, like, those things are the bee's knees. But like, after a little bit, I was like, dude, I need to like wean myself off or whatever.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it just goes from pain pills to like heroin, like really quickly.
Yep.
It's insane.
That's right.
And it's like always the people that like have enough money to get those surgeries and stuff that like are able to get pain pills for a while or whatever.
Well, man, I think you are leading the wave in I think somewhere where we're going that's going to be much more pleasant. And if obviously it can't be Jeremy and I because we don't have the brains for it, but
no. We're excited to hear more about what you do in the future, though, man. That's definitely keep us posted. We're gonna have you back on for sure.
Yeah.
Hear more about your project, the paper, how it gets published, what everyone's thoughts were, how they received it.
Last question to kind of leave everyone with a bit of advice for younger people who are looking to maybe pursue a career in the chemical field. Is that what you call?
Just in the hard. I used to say in the hard sciences in general.
Hard sciences,
like STEM.
Yeah.
And my thing would be is like I get paid to go to graduate school.
Yeah.
Like I get paid to be from 22 to like 27 or whatever when I graduate, to be in Nashville, Tennessee, to get my doctorate.
Yeah. Solid.
For me, I couldn't say no to that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Solid plan.
And so like whether you're going to like Michigan or whatever, like, you know, or you can go to like even like more prestigious schools or even smaller schools, like I don't take any debt on getting my doctorate, and I get like so much more of a pay boost in my first job.
And the experience and the resources you have on hand is fantastic.
So how does one go about doing that? They just
you
they
just
work in
have
the
to-
hard sciences and something specific and actually add and provide value.
I mean, graduate school is like pretty easy to get into, honestly. Like, if you just have to have a major in like whatever, or like have like required classes. But I mean, most people will start admissions at 3.0, which is like feasible.
Very
like,
feasible.
in college.
Even I
like,
did that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had like a friend who like he wasn't like he was way too smart that he did like terrible on tests. And so he had like a 3.2 or something like that, but he got into like one of the best research institutes because like he met and sat down with the professor and they're like, "Whoa, shit, you're smart! Like,
Yeah.
you can hang out with us."
I think a huge testament to you though is the persistence and the hard work that is involved in this field as well. I mean, in any field, if you want to be good at something, you got to bust your ass and you got to be persistent at it, and you can't give up early, and you can't think, oh, there's an easy way out, because there's no such thing as an easy way out. You can't get easy money. You can't find easy resource or easy solutions to molecules and bacteria fighting each other. So it's just a matter of putting in the work and getting it done.
It's all about sweat, man. That's why. I mean, that's why. That's why you get it from the cross and just shit like that. I mean,
Awesome. Fully circled it back, dude. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
We will have you back for sure to talk
absolutely.
more on this. So
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Folks from around the world, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the IR4 podcast. This is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. You are amazing. We will see you later. Until next time, love, live, learn. We'll see you. Bye.